It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl. Today, 2 outstanding elementary schools playing our game, one of whom could be the second of this year's Final Four in the elementary competition. Let's meet the teams now. First from Phyllis E. Williams Elementary School. Please say hello to Sochima Izemojuko, Tren Pearson, and Caroline Chukwu. And from Rogers Heights, say hello to Natalie Palma, Terrence Joseph, and Katie Yangelmau. And now here are the categories of questions we use on Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on Science Bowl, our game board reflects question difficulty, with the easier questions worth 5 and 10 points, the tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest question of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points apiece. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. At the end of these 2 rounds today, one of these 2 teams will come back to play Berwyn Heights for the chance to be the second of this year's Final Four. Let's make sure everything works properly. Let's go to the red team. Tren, would you try your buzzer? Thank you, young man. Good luck to you, to Sochima and to Caroline. And Terrence, would you try yours? Thank you, sir. Good luck to you, to Katie and to Natalie. All of you have played our game before. The Rogers Heights team coming back from last year. Phyllis E. Williams, 2 wins already this year, so we've got a team of veterans. All very nice to have you all back. Let's have a good game. We go alphabetically P before R. So Phyllis E. Williams, Tren, let's start the game.
Zoo Parade for 10.
Zoo Parade for 10 points. Teams, these super migrating insects that go to Mexico are actually supersized, with bigger wings and bigger bodies than their non-migrating kin. Phyllis E. Williams.
Locust. Locust. Locust?
Not the locust. Good try. These super migrating insects that fly to Mexico actually are supersized, with bigger wings and bigger bodies than their non-migrating kin. Yes, sir.
Butterfly?
More specifically.
Monarch.
Monarch butterflies, absolutely right. And when we come to you after another team has missed, you need not ring in again, but I do like your enthusiasm. Go green.
Dateline Science for 15, please.
Dateline for 15 points. Teams, the Consumer Product Safety Commission is warning teenagers in particular not to use these devices that give you concentrated doses of UVA rays. Phyllis E. Williams.
Magnifying glass. Magnifying glass.
Not a magnifying glass. What gives you concentrated doses of UVA rays, and the Consumer Product Safety Commission says teenagers, be careful if you use them? Yes, sir.
A tanning booth.
Absolutely right. Tanning rays, tanning booths. I didn't think you were going to pull that one out. Nicely done. Good. Green. Yes, sir.
Body system for 15, please.
Body systems for 15 points. Teams, a multiple choice question for you. The male nipple and the appendix are both useless. They are vestigial organs. Another way to describe these is by which of the following terms? Would you call those organs redundant, recalcitrant, or reproachable? Since they have no known function, Phyllis E. Williams.
Reproachable. Reproachable?
Not reproachable. Would the male nipple and the appendix be considered redundant, recalcitrant, or reproachable? Yes, sir.
Redundant?
Redundant it is, yes indeed. And again, you don't need to ring that buzzer again if we come to you. Redundant means extra or not necessary. Go again, green.
Zoo parade for 15, please.
Soup parade for 15 points. Teams, it was recently noticed in Uganda that hippopotamus were feeding on the carcasses of some of their dead kinfolk, making them animals that eat their own, known as what kind of animals? Rogers Heights.
Cannibals.
Cannibals, absolutely. Engaging in cannibalism. These are hippos that died from a disease. Their intestines had exuded forth, and they contained vegetation that was attractive to the other hippos. Green, please.
Green things for 15, please.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, plants that are siblings, that is related to each other, respect each other by taking up fewer nutrients through these from the soil so as to share the wealth. Rogers Heights.
Roots.
Roots, that's right. So their roots take up far fewer nutrients so that they're not hogging all the nutrition, sharing it with their siblings. Try again. Green.
Science potpourri for 15, please.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, an allergy to shellfish is not, we think, a reaction to what I-initialed chemical element that is found in seafood. I-initialed chemical element. That would be iodine. Iodine. Try again, green.
Okay. Let's get physical for 15, please.
Get physical for 15 points. Teams, if you take a banana and dip it into a liquefied version of this gas that makes up 4/5 of our atmosphere, it will freeze the banana solid, and if you hit it against something solid, it will shatter. Name that gas. Rogers Heights.
I like to defer to Natalie.
Natalie.
Nitrogen?
Nitrogen, yes. Liquid nitrogen freezes things solid. 4/5 of the atmosphere is nitrogen. We think so much about oxygen and carbon dioxide, but much of what we breathe in is nitrogen. Go, green.
Zoo parade for 20, please.
Zoo parade for 20 points. Teams, tell me, what kind of restaurant would you visit if you wanted to dine on tasty bivalves? What kind of restaurant would you go to? Come on, Phyllis C. Williams, get in this game. Nobody's going to ring in. You'd go to a seafood restaurant, because tasty bivalves are oysters and clams. Bivalves. Okay, buzzer's rung. First round's over. Score 50, Phyllis C. Williams, 135, Rogers Heights. We'll be back with round 2 in a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back to Science Bowl. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. We have 6 outstanding players here. Let's meet our first team from Phyllis C. Williams. They were a replacement team this year. We were so glad that they were able to join us. Miss Ruby Haraway, who is a wonderful sponsor. She got this team organized. Not only did they win once, they won twice. Now they're back for their 3rd appearance here. Nice to have Sochima and Trent and Caroline with us. Trent, tell us a little bit about your school. What do you like about Phyllis C. Williams?
Well, and Phyllis C. Williams, I like the activities we do and the after-school things that we do, such as basketball, and we practice after school, science bowl, and we do extra activities like dances and stuff.
That's great. Who's your principal, Trent?
Kenneth Newby.
Yeah, Kenneth Newby. I know he's out there rooting for you, along with Miss Haraway. Did you have some alternates on your team, Trent? I remember seeing them there before we started the show.
We had Jonathan Waldo, Joshua Price, and Isis Rogers.
Wonderful. And we'll bring them out with Miss Haraway in just a few moments so you can meet them. And Trent, you've been on the show twice. What do you like about Science Bowl?
Well, I just like to play, and it seems fun.
Yeah, it is fun. We hope you have fun because we enjoy having you here. And one day you hope to be a computer game organizer. You would like to develop some games, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Caroline, nice to have you with us again. You've been kind of quiet the first half. You're just waiting. You're going to let loose, I know. Tell us a little about yourself. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to draw and use my computer.
Use your computer, yeah. What do you want to do someday?
I want to become a pediatrician.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. Do you have younger brothers and sisters at home?
Yes.
Yeah, so you get to kind of practice being a pediatrician already here. So, Chima, nice to have you back with us. Tell us about, first of all, your shirts. What is the mascot of Phyllis C. Williams?
Our mascot is the Wildcats.
The Wildcats, yeah. Sit up a little straight so we can just see what you're wearing there. There they are. There are those Wildcats. You guys look good. Tell me, have people recognized you from being on Science Bowl? Yeah. Yeah, oh, you're going to need an agent sometime soon here. You guys are going to get so famous. Nice to have you back again for the third time. Tell me about yourself. I know you're a sportswoman as well as an academic. You're a scholar athlete. What kind of sports do you like?
Well, I like all sports. I play all different kinds of sports, like a variety of sports.
Yeah. What do you want to do when you get older?
I want to be a cardiologist.
Yeah. What got you interested in that?
Well, I heard people had heart disease, getting cancer, and I just want to help out because to me it's just tragic. It's tragic.
And you know, you're absolutely right. The number 1 and 2 killers in this country are cancer and heart disease. So if you can help reduce those numbers, there are a lot of people out there who could need your assistance. So keep your dream. Rogers Heights, nice to have you guys here today. These players, first time this year, but they have all been here before representing their school. Terrence, nice to have you back. Who is your principal?
Mrs. Barbara Bottoms.
And she is out there rooting for you. And Mrs. Susan Goldcow is out there. She's your sponsor. I know your mom is here today. She was giving you some words of advice before we started. Tell me, Terrence, any alternates on your team?
One of our alternates is Jakira Sells.
Yes, we'll bring out the alternate a little bit later. And tell me about Rogers Heights. What do you brag about when you tell people you're from Rogers Heights?
I'll brag about the teachers.
Yeah, boy, they are so important. If you know that they care about you, that's it. You'll do anything for them, and that's what education is all about. Tell me about what you see yourself doing someday.
I see myself being an inventor.
An inventor, yeah. And we were talking about this earlier, and I said, what would you like to invent? And he said, well, you know, most everything seems to have been invented, but there are a lot of things out there. And I like your spirit. If anyone's going to come up with something new, I think you will, young man. Nice to have you with us. Katie, nice to have you back with us. Aspiring pediatrician as well? Yeah, you have something in common with Caroline over here. You're going to have to compare notes later. What got you interested in pediatrics?
Well, there are lots of children that have diseases and children that they eat too much sweets and they can get obese and have diabetes, so I decided I wanted to be a pediatrician.
Boy, you're very wise, and I know First Lady Michelle Obama, that has become her cause, childhood obesity. So you are picking up on a theme that's very important in this country now. Congratulations to you on that. Natalie, nice to have you back. This is a young lady who does all kinds of things. You research Japanese, do you not? And tell us some of the other things you do in your spare time.
Well, I read and I do karate.
Karate, that's right, yes. Do you play a musical instrument?
Yes.
What do you play?
Clarinet.
Clarinet, yeah. Do you like sports?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, you just do it all. Nice to have you back. What do you see yourself doing someday?
I want to be a veterinarian.
Right, and we talked earlier. I said, Natalie, do you have any pets? And she said, no, I don't have any pets. We have to get you some pets so you can practice being a vet there, Natalie. All right, let's get back into our game. Come on, Phyllis C. Williams, let's get in here. Let's push that buzzer. Caroline and Sochima, you beat up on Trent to get him to push that thing, all right? Don't let him get away with just sitting there. Keep up your good work over there, Rogers Heights. Let's get back to it. Green team, start us out.
Green things for 20, please.
Green things for 20 points. All right. It seems that air pollution is making it very tough for pollinators to find plants because it's destroying or interfering with what that plants are producing. What are they producing that the air pollution is kind of wiping out, Trent?
Oxygen.
Oh, not oxygen, not oxygen. Good try. What are they putting out there, Terrence?
Photosynthesis? No, carbon dioxide.
No, fragrances. So the pollinators can't smell the nice odors coming from the plants because the air is polluted. All right, you guys were both headed down a different path than the one we wanted you to go down. Go green.
Oh, dateline for 10, please.
Dateline for 10 points. Teams, it seems that this giant hole in the atmosphere is actually starting to close up. The bad news is it's causing global warming to get worse. What hole am I talking about? All right. P. Williams. Come on, Trent.
Ozone layer.
You got that right. The ozone layer that protects us from ultraviolet radiation, but now it's closing over. We don't get that protection. Now it's going to get warmer. We can't win. Go red. Good.
Zoo parade for 25.
Zoo parade for 25 points. Teams, what word describes the process that took hundreds of years of getting animals like sheep and goats and chickens and cows used to being around human beings? For 25 points, what is that process called, Rogers Heights?
Agriculture.
No, not agriculture. Good try. Phyllis C. Williams, getting sheep and cows and goats and chickens and horses to get comfortable being around human beings. It took hundreds of years. What was that process called?
Breeding.
Good try. Domestication. They are domesticated animals. Try again, red.
Body systems for 20.
Body systems for 25 points. Teams, if you get a flu shot, normally the doctor injects that needle right into your muscle. It is intramuscular. But if the vaccine has to go directly into your bloodstream, how do you get the shot? It's described how, Phyllis C. Williams?
Nasal spray?
No, not a nasal spray. It's got to get directly into your blood. What kind of shot is that called? How is it delivered?
Into your vein?
Into your vein. Give me a term that describes that. Judges, am I correct in pursuing this? Yes. If you're getting a shot directly into your vein, what's that called?
Injection.
Yes, sir.
An injection?
No, we're looking for intravenous, an IV. IV or intravenous instead of intramuscular. Tough question. Good try, both teams. Again, Tren.
Science potpourri for 20.
Potpourri for 20 points. Teams, at airports, a lot of times to detect contraband drugs, they have sniffing dogs. Now, entomologists are training what other kinds of creatures to do the same kind of work because the creatures are very small and easy to train. Phyllis C. Williams. What do you think, Tren?
Mice.
Not mice. Good try. What are entomologists training to do the same kind of job as sniffing dogs because these creatures are very small and easy to train? What do you think? Entomologists study insects. They're training bugs. They're training bugs like wasps and bees. Try again, red.
Let's get physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20 points. Teams, when astronauts want to walk in space, they can't walk on air because there's no air out there. What kind of V-initialed space is out there? V-initialed space out there, P.E. Williams.
Vacant. Vacant?
Close, not quite, not vacant. What's that area in space where there is no air called, Rogers Heights? It is what kind of V-initialed space?
Void.
Good try. Vacuum. It's a vacuum. Try again, red.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10 points. Teams, your body's lacrimal glands can produce these, sometimes if you're sad and sometimes if you're happy. Phyllis C. Williams?
Tears.
Tears, that's right. Tears of joy and tears of sadness. Thank you, Caroline. Go red.
Let's get physical for 10.
Let's get physical for 10 points. Teams, certain species of geckos cannot walk up glass panels because there's not enough force to keep them from falling off, Rogers Heights?
Friction.
Friction is right. Thank you, Katie. Good. Green.
Science potpourri for 10, please.
Potpourri for 10 points. Teams, bubble wrap was invented by someone who looked at on these visible masses of condensed water droplets out of his airplane window and said, oh, that gives me an idea. What was he looking out and seeing, Tren?
Water vapor. Air bubbles. Water vapor.
Not water vapor. What were those large masses of condensed water droplets that this man saw outside of his airplane window that suggested to him bubble wrap?
Raindrops.
Clouds. Clouds. Okay, try again, green.
Dateline for 20, please.
Dateline for 20 points. Teams, scientists fear a catastrophic eruption, volcanic eruption, in this first ever national park here in the United States because currently it exists at the bottom of a volcanic caldera. What was the very first national park established in the United States, Tren?
Yellowstone. Yellowstone National Park.
Absolutely right. Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. Good, go.
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25 points. Teams, the reason why Rice Krispies snap, crackle, and pop is because the milk moves through the crystallized sugar by what kind of C-initialed action that is named for the smallest of your blood vessels? Rogers Heights?
Cells?
Nope, not cells. Phyllis C. Williams? C-initialed movement of milk that is named for the smallest of your blood vessels? That would be capillary action. Try again, Red. Go.
Let's get physical for 25.
Okay, let's get physical for 25 points. Teams, the astronomer Edwin Hubble is credited with discovering these collections of stars and gases and dust that are held together by gravity. What do you call those, Phyllis Williams?
Constellation.
Good try. Not quite. Not quite. Good try. These collections of stars and dust and such in the outer atmosphere held together by gravity.
Saturn's rings.
No, good try. Galaxies. Galaxies. Try again, Red. Let's go for something that we can get here, okay?
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points. All right, teams. Another name, a nickname for this kind of carnivorous plant is sawtooth, big mouth, or red piranha. Rogers Heights.
Venus flytrap.
Venus flytrap. That's it. Good. Green.
Okay. Green things for 5, please.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, these cases that contain your personalized musical selections have the same name as the case where beans grow their seeds. Rogers Heights.
iPod.
Pods, absolutely. iPods and pea pods or bean pods. That's right. Good. Go. Green.
Super 8 for 5, please.
Super 8 for 5 points, teams. Oh my. It seems that the cubs of these 3 predators who threatened Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz have recently been raised together and they all get along famously. What 3 animals are we talking about? Oh my. Rogers Heights.
Lions and tigers and bears.
You got that right. Lions and tigers and bear cubs, oh my. And they all get along together. Thank you, Katie. Go Green.
Let's get physical for 5, please.
Let's get physical for 5 points, teams. Who would have thought that if you take a lemon, hook it up to a light bulb with wires, that the light bulb will light up because the lemon is a wet cell, or another word is saying you've made yourself a what? What have you made? Terrence.
A battery.
A battery. It is a battery. You betcha it is. It's just a wet cell battery. Good. Green.
Dateline science for 5, please.
Dateline for 5 points, teams. The earthquake in Haiti that occurred recently was the strongest in 300 years, and it registered 7.0 on what scale? Come on, Phyllis Williams. What's the scale?
Richter scale.
Richter scale. That's it. Good. Red, go.
Science potpourri for 5.
Potpourri for 5 points, teams. Maybe they could play that familiar children's game on Avatar. In the movie on Pandora, they were looking for something called unobtainium. Was unobtainium an animal? Vegetable? It was a what? Mineral. Animal, vegetable, or mineral. Try Red.
Body systems for 5.
Body systems, 5 points, teams. This is normally associated with heat, but in a tense situation, like now, being on the Science Bowl, you too could break out in a cold what? Rogers Heights.
Sweat.
Sweat, that's right, a cold sweat. All right, the buzzer has rung. That means our game is over. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Don't go away. And welcome back to Science Bowl. I hope you were able to keep up today. I'm sure you knew a lot of the answers, but maybe not as many as our children here today. Those were some tough questions, but we had some tough competitors. Our final tally today is Phyllis Williams 95, Rogers Heights 175. So the team in the white shirts, you're coming back. Natalie and Terrence and Katie, congratulations for a great game. Jakira, nice to have you. You're smiling as you should. Miss Golkow, thank you for everything. Miss Kayla, thank you for being here today as well. And over here at Phyllis Williams, Sachima is shedding a few tears. She shouldn't. You played 2 wonderful games. You're back for the 3rd, and you gave it a wonderful shot. Let's give her a hand. Tren and Caroline, you did a super job here today. And look at all the alternates backing her up back there. We've got Isis and Tracy and Joshua and Jonathan. I think I've added one too many. Miss Haraway, thank you for coming in at the last minute this season. You did phenomenally well, and we're very proud of you and thankful. Thank you, guys. Come on, let's see some smiles. You guys are great. We'll see you next time on another edition of Science Bowl. Bye now.